Yo, what's good, boys? We are back at it again with another MLB The Show 25 video for you guys. In today's video, I'm going to be updating my top 10 must-have cards in the game. So must-have is kind of a broad criteria. It's basically composed of cards that I think are just way better than all the other cards at their position. So they're worth splurging on. Or it could be cards that are just insane good value that I think should be on everybody's team. So hopefully you guys enjoy. The last time we did this was a little over or a little under a month ago, so it's time to update it. And if you enjoyed the content, like, subscribe, all that, then let's get into it. So our first card up here will be Yasmani Grandal as a honorable mention. We've got a couple honorable mentions. I think Yasmani's cool. Let me move myself a little bit so you guys can see the wheel. We'll be right here for this video. We'll just be in the middle of the screen. So I think Yasmani's really good value. He's still a lot of people's choice catcher, where they prefer him over every other catcher in the game. Me personally, I think Santana's better. I think Adley's probably better. And I think I would probably prefer Jorge over him as well. But for some people, Grandal is their favorite. So I think if you can get him for cheap, if you can do that collection to the second tier for relatively cheap, like I feel like you can, then I think he's really good value, and he's definitely worth mentioning. Next up, we've got a lefty reliever here in Aaron Bummer. I think he's worth mentioning. He doesn't have like the circle change that he used to have in prior years, but he's still pretty good, and I think he's still like the third best lefty reliever. So if you're running 3 lefties in your bullpen, I think it's between like him and probably that new threads Chapman for that last spot. So I think he at least competes for that spot. And I think with him being the first tier collection reward of the summer series, it's something that is pretty easily attainable for most people. So I think he's pretty solid value there. Next up, wouldn't be one of these videos without mentioning Anthony Santandere. Still really good value, especially if you put some parallels on him, but you kind of have to be either extremely comfortable with the swing or an all-star player at this point. The contacts are getting pretty low, especially as we are starting to get starters that have like 100 hits, 105, 110 hits. You're going to see Santandere's PCI shrink a lot, and this is with me having him super fractured to get him 85, 77. So he's just falling behind a little bit, but I think he's still really good value if you can do that collection pretty cheap. All right, next up, definitely have a way better card. Felix Baltista, I think he's worth mentioning. He was 150k, now he's 100. He's probably the best righty reliever in the game. It's either him or Devin Williams. I'm not really hearing anybody else out. It's just kind of an issue of, is he worth 100k? For some people that have coins, that are pursuing the best team in the game, that want a shutdown, unhittable reliever in like the 9th inning to close their games, the answer will be yeah, he's worth it. For a lot of people, 100k is like an entire live series team that you could be knocking out towards Beltron, so he won't be worth it for them. But he's here. I think it's worth an honorable mention. If you want the best righty in the game, here he is. It just costs a lot. Now we've got our final honorable mention here, right field, and it is going to be, where's he at? He's 93 overall. It's going to be the new Summer Casiano. So I think his swing is incredible, and I think he's a really solid free card. My issue with him and why he's going to stay an honorable mention and not a top 10 card is that this card's a DH. He's going to be pretty pathetic in the field, so he's a DH, and a lot of people will have DHs that are like switch hitters. So you have to really like him, or you have to really have a lefty that you want to platoon with him, like a Jock or somebody like that. So I think it's an awesome card. It's a good free card, and if you need a DH, he's awesome for that. If you need a right fielder, that's where kind of question marks start to kind of pop up with him. So moving on to our first actual card, number 10 on the list here. It's filtered through. He should be a 92. There he is. Okay, Nate Pearson. For 22k, 23k, you're not going to get a guy with an outlier fastball, with this big of a speed differential. So this is a card that kind of transcends difficulty. He's not going to be like a John or a Randy, where he's just going to be good on every difficulty, but he's going to be good on All-Star, good on Hall of Fame, decent on Legend, decent on GOAT. He's a guy that can genuinely make your rotation no matter what difficulty you're on. If you're on All-Star and you're really struggling to get swings and misses, his outlier four seam mixed with that really slow circle change is going to be one of your best options. And you kind of package that all in a 23K bundle. It's really good value. Comparable guys to him are like Paul Skeen's Live Series, who's a lot more and a worse card, I think. Hunter Green, who's just a worse card. It's a much different card because he has a splitter, whereas Pearson also has a sinker. So they're different cards, but if you just need swings and misses on those lower difficulties, this Nate Pearson card could legitimately be your ace. So I'm a big fan of this card, especially for 23K. Moving on. Number 9, Cory Seager. For some of you, that this will be sacrilegious. For me, it's just value-wise, because I don't think he's the best shortstop in the game. He has a debate to be the best third baseman. I think his best spot's actually at second. So it's a cool card. He's straight. The problem is how much it is to lock him in. I don't know if he's worth like a 300, 400K lock-in, whatever he is at this point, because you got to lock in either Vlad or Schwarber. Neither of those are cheap, and then you have to have all the fodder cards, and you have to go grind this program, which is not necessarily the most rewarding program in the world to go grind. So I think just time-wise, stub-wise, you can seriously sit here and debate if he's worth it or not. I think he's an incredible card, but I don't know if he's worth putting all your stubs towards. Next up, we have the complete opposite of that, where James Wood is my number 8 card here. And the reason he's pretty high up is corner outfielders are hard to find right now. This is a completely free card. And on top of that, if I come and pull up his spotlight program, you'll see 1 spotlight pack, 2 spotlight packs. Ryan O'Hearn, who I thought of putting in this list by himself, he's just like a better David Ortiz. Another spotlight pack, and 3 more spotlight packs. So if you're just looking to accrue value, if you're just looking to make some stubs, you can just sell all these. Like if you're not trying to do Bryce Harper, if you're not trying to add to the Topps Now collection, you can just sell all these, and you're probably walking out of this with at least 50,000 stubs and a new starting left fielder, and potentially a new starting first baseman. So I think this is a super worthwhile program to go grind, and you get James Wood with it. So I think that's good enough to justify why he's 8th on my kind of must-have list here. Super usable card, and getting him is super rewarding. So I'm a big fan of that. Number 7, pretty similar theme here. Skubal. You get him by having like all of the previous drops done. So it is quite a grind if you're starting from 0, but like I said with James Wood, you're getting all these packs on the side that you can just sell to make stubs to buy some other players on this list. I think he fits in the best 5 in the game. I've pitched 5 games with him. He's 3-2. He has a 4 ERA, a 1 WHIP, and he has struck out quite a few batters for me. And he flashes like some dominance. I don't think he's anything insane. Like he's not John Don level or anything like that. But he has flashes for me, and I think he's really solid. And a 4 ERA in the context of DD is not bad at all. So I think Scubal's really good. I think he should be in everybody's rotation. The thing with him is the pinpoint does get a little janky after you give up a runner. But if you just really pay attention, then it's not really the biggest deal in the world. So moving on, we have a Wombo combo here. Between Ketel Marte, who recently got updated. I still have not found a second baseman this year that I like more than Ketel Marte. And now he's getting these super nice inside edges. If you're still running the D-backs boost, the only complaint I really have with this card is the clutch. It gets a little iffy to use once you make it to like Legend and GOAT especially. But other than that, he's still, in my opinion, the best second baseman in the game. The counterpoint to that would be Brian Roberts. So some people like Brian Roberts more. On average, he has better stats. You're looking at like 10 higher power, and slightly more contact left, a lot more contact right, better overall clutch. Marte actually beats him on quirks, so there is that. And I think Marte's the better defensive second baseman. But I think they're pretty much 1A, 1B. It just kind of depends on whose swing you like more, and how much you value the speed as opposed to the defense that Marte gives you. All right, so moving on to our 5th spot here, going back to relievers, Matt Strom. Matt Strom for 28K is an absolute stud. If you guys have been around the channel, you would know that I have super fractored the gold one. I was running him up until, I want to say like a month ago, something like that. I was still running the gold Matt Strom, even post roster update, because I think he is genuinely one of the best lefties in the game. And this one has a 5-pitch mix with some pretty nice hits. The control isn't anything insane. The pitching clutch isn't anything crazy. And he's not really topping out. Like, you'd love for this card to hit 97. That will rarely, if ever, happen. But at the end of the day, like, Matt Strom is just funky. He's just always been hard to hit ever since he got that playoff card like 2 years ago. He's an absolute stud. And for 30K, you're getting legit one of the best relievers in this game, one of the best left-handed relievers in this game, and he's just an absolute stud. All right, so our number 4 spot here is also shared. I have it split between Willie Castro and Derek Jeter, whereas Willie Castro is probably cheaper to go get now than Cory Seager, so I think he's a better value, and I think he's just overall the better card. I think he's better at shortstop, better at second base, better at third base, wherever you want to play him, he's better than Cory Seager, just because he's a switch hitter, he's fast, he actually plays good defense, whereas Seager looks lost at times out there. It's really just arm strength with Castro. And then I have Derek Jeter, where, like, Willie Castro's 200K. Not everybody has 200K. Everybody can go earn this Jeter from the XP path or spend like 17K on him. Jeter's going to be 80% of what Willie Castro is going to be. The defense won't be quite as good. He doesn't have the like top end power that Willie Castro has, and he's not a switch hitter. But he does actually have quirks, whereas Willie Castro has like no quirks. So he has that going for him. One is a little more low effort, easier to acquire, whereas the other is just the best shortstop in the game. And like I've been saying, a finest card like Willie Castro can be your shortstop for the next 3 months, and you won't have to think twice about it. So I think they are 2 must-have cards. I think Jeter coming out kind of devalues Willie Castro, if that makes sense. So moving on to our 3 spot here, we are going with a guy that you probably know all too well. You know him on first name basis. It's Big John. The hits are definitely behind at this point. You look at mine, he's super fractured, and he still only has 88 hits. But when you have the best pitch mix in the game, and just the intimidation factor that John has, doesn't really matter. So for a completely free card at this point, you don't even have to have like the Josh Gibson or the Satchel Paige anymore. There's enough storylines to where you can just do the storylines, do the conquest map, do the showdown twice, and you will be the proud owner of arguably the best pitcher in the game. So I think down the road, we'll definitely get a better John that actually has good hits, and, you know, the par on a sinker isn't half the strike zone. But even with all those negatives, he's still a top 2 pitcher in the game, I think is fair to say. So he's an absolute stud, and he's completely free, so he's a must-have card. Number 2, this is just purely based on value here. Danny. For 20K, you are getting the best lefty reliever in the game, and potentially the best reliever in the game. I think he's the only guy rivaling Felix, where let's say your opponent has 3 switch hitters or even 3 righties due up next inning. You could put in Danny and not think twice about it. He's not like every other lefty. Now, would that still be you being negligent? Yeah, probably. He probably should not be facing righties constantly, but he can, and that's kind of the point, where there's not a ton of lefty relievers you can say that about. Some John Franco cards, Aroldis Chapman sometimes, Aaron Loup kinda, and you can add Danny to that list. He's an absolute stud. And for 20K, if you don't have him in your pin, if you don't at least have the gold, you're actually throwing, because he's just so janky. He can put the cutter wherever he wants, whenever he wants to. And the sinker is just like glitched. Like he throws it like a football and then it moves a ton out of the hand. Like he is just disgusting. And for 20K, you're not gonna find a better value card. Number one, definitely not a better value card, but it's Beltron. I hate to do it, and I haven't been including him on these type of lists, but it's Beltron. I've gotten the question so much recently of like, should I invest all these stubs? Should I go do some of these collections to try to get Ted Williams, to try to get Scott Rowland? You should do everything you possibly can to get Beltron. I know Ohtani's like 600K, 700K, so it's pretty daunting, but Beltron is the best card in the game. He's going to be the best card in the game until we get like a Chipper Jones or something like that. And even then, the defensive impact that this card has is just absolutely nuts. So if you can get Carlos Beltron, you should be doing everything possible to get him. He's got like every single quirk other than breaking ball. And he's just got the best overall stats in the game, as well as playing PCA level defense in the outfield, which is why he's the number one must-have. If you think it's bogus that I have him on here and you want to move up like one of these honorable mentions or something, then I would get that. But he's definitely, in my opinion, the must-have card in the game. If you're not working towards getting him, I think you're doing something wrong. So hopefully you guys enjoyed. Hopefully this kind of guides you in what cards you should be adding to your team. And if you enjoyed the content, like, subscribe. Till next time.